Boruto franchise suffers from a very unique issue where it seems like the events in the anime sometimes complements or contradicts the events that take place in the manga, which leaves the fans confused most of the time. You can chop this up to it being because of a monthly manga with a weekly anime schedule causing the need for content to be created, fill in the blanks of the manga. When Kadachi first was writing Boruto, you can see that he was writing the story in a way that the anime can supplement and come in and give us new events or stories. But once the switch happened to Ikimoto and Kishimoto supervising, you can tell that Ikimoto started working on the details, slowing down the pace of the monthly manga, which caused frustration within the fandom. We also couldn't rule off the events that have taken place in the anime because Ikimoto stated in one of his interviews that you should treat the anime as its own continuity towards the Boruto story. Anime has its own continuity, it still complements the manga. That's how Ikimoto sensei wanted us to view the manga and anime. If I can bring this all into perspective and explain through the story of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex and all the events and alternate timelines that having two different continuities within the anime and manga actually makes sense to the broader picture of this story. Bring it all into perspective, you need to view the anime and the manga as two separate timelines that complement one another. And this makes sense to the story of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex the moment we were introduced to Omnipotence and 10 Directions. The introduction of 10 Directions, the story of Boruto elevated, showing us that there's different timelines where Boruto fails or where Boruto wins or where Sarada dies or where Hima dies, showing a different chain of events that take place within the story. This is similar to the multiverse that took place in the Power Rangers series, the Boom Studios comic. And yes, it's a multiverse. The only thing that changed in the Boom Studios Power Ranger comic series, Lord Draken was able to open portals and go into these alternate timelines and get people to join his ranks. Explained this in greater detail in my old video, Boruto is now the hero of time, where I explained how Boruto is walking down the same path as Link, but the child timeline to be more specific. But in this video today, I'm gonna bring everything together and to explain it so you guys can understand. First thing we have to go over to make this theory make sense: what caused the split in the timelines in the Boruto series? And the answer is very simple. The catalyst to splitting the two timelines in Boruto is Boruto's birth. The moment Boruto was born, the timelines were split. This makes sense when you look at the differences between the anime timeline and the manga timeline. There's a point in time where everything splits off and becomes very different, and it starts at Boruto's birth. We need anchor points. In timelines or time travel, there's anchor points where we know this is a canon event that takes place, that we know it anchors us in this time period. The canon anchor event in this series is Toneri in the last movie. Toneri's character is the character that brings everything together for Boruto in the anime timeline, but he's also missing in the manga timeline, meaning from the events from the last all the way to Boruto's birth, the two timelines split off and go into their own direction. Very similar to what happened in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. If you look at that game, that video game is the anchor point in the timeline for the hero of time. After that game, three timelines are created: the child timeline, the adult timeline, and the timeline where Link actually loses to Ganondorf. After the Ocarina of Time and you manage to seal Ganon, Zelda feels bad that she robbed her friend of his childhood, so she sends him back. And this is the child timeline, and this is the superior timeline, and this leads into the games like the Majora's Mask, where Link is basically looking for his friend, the fairy that left, the only person that knew the truth that Link was the hero of the time. And from there, he gets old, he links up with the ranch girl, he has some kids, and then he has some descendants. He joins the Hyrule army, he basically dies, but he continues to train his descendant in the Twilight Princess, the hero Shade. After that, it leads into the Four Sword game. The other timeline, the adult timeline, is where the hero of time is missing. The spirit of the hero of time travels with Link, who goes back to the childhood timeline. So this leads to a great flood and Hyrule's flood and all that. And then we have the fallen soldier timeline where Link dies to Ganon after the Ocarina of Time, and that's kind of it. Really it. There's several games where they meet up again, like the Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, where all the timelines merge and they take a single path. And this is what happens in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. See, Boruto's birth is that anchor point in both timelines. That's where everything starts to change. Toneri is a canon event that takes place in the last movie. And from there, the anime involves Toneri. We see Toneri get sealed by Urashiki, while the manga never mentions Toneri, and it's kind of like Toneri doesn't exist to the story. Everything that's taking place in the anime doesn't reflect on what's taking place in the manga. See, Boruto is already aware in the anime that he's activated the Jogan, and he used it in the New Way arc. But in the manga, he has no clue that he has this ability. We can even question that the New Way arc probably never happened in the manga timeline, because we never see Sumire use the New Way. Even when Sarada was being attacked by Hidari, Sumire had multiple opportunities to use the New Way, but she relied on Konohamaru. My main point is, Toneri is a canon anchor event. Boruto's birth was the catalyst that split the timelines into two different paths. We have the anime timeline, Urashiki, Toneri, and we have the manga timeline that doesn't even acknowledge Toneri's existence or Urashiki's existence. Similar to the Legend of Zelda timeline, there's a point when both of the canon timelines meet one another and become one single point. That is because of two specific characters, Ida and Kashin Koji, both using abilities from the god himself, Shibai. Think of everything that's taken place in the anime and everything that's taking place to the manga. And where do they all meet at? Both timelines meet up during the swap between Boruto's life and Kawaki's life. This swap was very important because this is what Momoshiki was holding on to. This event taking place was always going to happen. It's another anchor point within the Boruto universe timeline where everything meets up. This event was going to happen regardless, where Ida unleashed Omnipotence and swapped the lives between Boruto and Kawaki. The event of Omnipotence, it's very similar to the catalyst event of Boruto's birth, splitting his one timeline into two different timelines that follow different continuities. The only thing that changed is Kashin Koji. Once Kashin Koji was introduced to Boruto, he had a godlike ability called 10 direct, limiting the number of people who know about the future, calling them singularities of fate. Kashin Koji is able to control the different branches of timelines to give us one singular timeline, which is the best possible outcome for the series. But because Kashin Koji is controlling the timeline, Ida unleashing Omnipotence couldn't become another catalyst event like Boruto's birth to split the universe into different timelines. But here's the kicker, it actually did. It's because Kashin Koji is keeping us on one direct path to get us to the best possible future. We're not seeing all these separate timelines taking place, but they're being acknowledged in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, where we find out Kawaki does kill Boruto. He also kills Sarada, and then Code comes back and kills Kawaki and unleashes the Ten Tails. There's another timeline where Hima gets murdered by Jura and Inogen goes off to avenge her. There's other timelines where probably Sarada died. There's a timeline where Konohamaru is dead, but he survived in this timeline because of Boruto and Kashin Koji manipulating events to keep us on one singular timeline. This is where the latest chapter, chapter 28, introduces new tensions within the story, because now we're seeing that Kashin Koji is no longer able to predict everything to a T because fate is changing, because too many people know of the future. So now there's multiple timelines that can open up and cause our characters to go down a different path than the one they're attempting to head down. And this is what is going to cause the chaos within the Boruto 2 Blue Vortex series. The fact that they cannot control the timeline. But that's it for the video. It's just a theory in my head that that's how they're going to bridge the gap between the anime and manga, and basically say there were two separate timelines that were taking place during the story. But like, comment, subscribe, smash that hype button, and I'm out.